Can you hear me? Yeah. My name's Cynthia. I'm from the convent at Koroit. We get a lot of international tourists coming through. Tonight we've got tourists from Maine in the USA. And when they come, they say the same thing every time. We did not know it was such an interesting area, and we're just staying here one night, and then we're going to Melbourne tomorrow, or we're going to Adelaide tomorrow. And if we'd have known, we would have spent much longer in this area. And so I'm wondering what you can do to actually, these people who are coming, we get a lot from overseas. I mean, most of our tourists actually are from international. And I'm wondering what you can do to reach out to these people who are from further away.
Cynthia, now I've turned it off. So a fabulous ambassador for the region, and thank you for the recent piece you did on television, because the interview was amazing. I think it is a long journey. So often international is probably the hardest sector because they're often only in Australia for 7 to 14 days. And so I do think it's a big journey for us to keep teaching them what we've got to offer. We need to get a lot more businesses that are what we call trade friendly, so that they're sold in market in their own country before they get here, because that makes them want to stay longer in a destination. We really understand it's the sum of, and so often it's a very narrow view they have of the Great Ocean Road. They think they're coming, drive a road to see the apostles, to see the coast. We've got to embed that there is so much more to do, and especially the experiences. But to really lock them in, we need those sort of paid experiences and attractions that they can book before they get here, so that it locks them in and they're definitely staying longer.
Thank you. To your point around the business events and conferences, all of you have different creative skills. So if you think about whether it's a conference that's coming to town, is there something that you could offer that market? How do you get into the event planners, the venues that are hosting events? So you've got to think a little bit laterally. Sometimes there'll be a tip to come around being proactive and reactive. But what are some of the things that maybe our creatives can do to put their you mentioned the comment around doing events. So there's listing on the Great Ocean Road website. There are other...
Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, which is Visit Victoria, but also Tourism Australia, so that gets it out far and wide. They have a lot of distributors that take that, so you'll often find those events are being pushed out everywhere. So that's, to me, the number one.
Good one.
And that you do ATDW, it also comes to Visit Great Ocean Road, so you don't have to do it twice.
Yes, I think you should all have your little phones or pens out, little post-its, whatever you need to do to make notes. And atdw.com.au, if you're running any events, is a free platform to list those events. So that's one key thing we'd love you to take away.
The other thing is, and I take Jordan's point that sometimes we're just exhausted, and social battery is exhausted. But the more people you talk to and tell what you do. Like the perfume one's a really classic example. I was at something like this and the person came up and said, this is what I do and I can do this type of an event. I would never have thought of having that in a conference program.
Yeah.
But meeting them and they said, I asked, well, we've only got about an hour and a half. I could make it work within that time. We had another person who's a breathwork specialist. And so the first thing in the morning, they do a session before people have breakfast, doing breath work. So it's not intimidating. Yoga can be a bit intimidating to some people, think, oh, do I want to be, I've never done yoga, do I want to go into that? But breath work was seen as, So sometimes there are just crazy ideas, but I think the more that you're out talking to people and telling them what you do, they might find, oh, that could go into this slot, or I could do that there.
Absolutely. Great. Any other questions for Liz? Visitor economy, tourism related? Otherwise, we are going to thank you ever so much. Thank you. And